Okay, good afternoon. This is Gavin from Workplace Wizards. It's good to see you today. This is episode 46, and it's all about the why. So let me introduce you to my colleague. Arnell, how
Introduce
are you doing, buddy?
introduce to your colleague.
Introduce you to my colleague.
How you doing, Gavin? It's great. It's great to be with you today.
Obviously not very well. What did I say wrong? I'll have to play it back and see what I said wrong.
I don't know. We have to read it, listen to it again. But go ahead.
Dear.
Go ahead.
Well, we're talking about the why today, aren't we? We're talking about why we do this stuff. So you said some interesting things to me about how we live our lives and why we do what we're doing. So why don't you explain to people why we've chosen to do these podcasts and what we're trying to achieve, really, I guess.
I think, Gavin, I think it goes back to where we started. After I graduated from college, I took a job with the Department of Justice and served as a government special agent for like 25 years before I retired. But why did I do that? Because I wanted to help serve. I always liked helping people, period. If I'm driving down the road and I see a car broke down, I'm one of those people that would like to stop by and just try to see if I could help. Now, I'm not a mechanic, so there's nothing I could do underneath that hood that's going to help. But hey, can I make sure they're safe? Can I make sure that somebody stays with them or blocks traffic so that nobody gets hit? Or, can I do that to help? And I've always been that type of person. I've always wanted to help. And you can go back to my high school and in junior high days, I was the first one in our school to have some type of vehicle. I bought a moped at 14 and everybody was using the moped, everybody would borrow it. Hey, let me borrow, because I wanted to help anybody else out. So that was my why. So when I graduated from college and there was an opportunity and I said, man, this is a great opportunity to do what I've always loved doing in the first place, and that's helping others. But I became a government special agent. You visited. And what happened with you?
I came to visit you. I think it was at a wedding, and you just joined the agency. And I was a bit of a crossroad in my career. I was in sales, wasn't really enjoying it, wasn't very good at it, really. I was okay, but I wasn't enjoying it. And you kind of gave me the inspiration to, well, actually, why don't I apply for the police service in the UK? Because fundamentally, we are the same. I did want to serve. I did want to make things better for people and protect people, and I did. Don't get me wrong, I wanted to arrest people and I wanted to drive the cars fast and I wanted to do all that kind of stuff as well. That was important to me. But underlying all that was the ability to be able to serve people and make life better for people. And that's why I joined. And that's why initially I said, if I don't like it, I'll leave. And I never had any, there was no day I felt that I wanted to leave. Things are hard sometimes, but I always had that at core, as a core of me wanting to help people. So that's very powerful motivator for me. And I think why this is quite a good and important question for people to listen to is that we fundamentally, sometimes we've got to remember why we join different organizations. Because whichever organization we join, it's always going to be, there can be times when it's going to be tricky. Okay. And sometimes you've got to just be reminded of the why. Why did you join that organization? And particularly in law enforcement,
Right.
budgets get cut, don't they? Demand goes up, it gets more challenging. The public's perception of you and demand of you go up, and life can get tricky. And actually, the job is hard, and to do a job well is hard. But sometimes you've got to remind your staff, well, this is why you're doing it. Think back to why you're doing it, because you want them to be engaged in what they're doing, and just reminding them sometimes about the why. And it will change for different organizations,
Right.
but for certainly law enforcement, serving others and protecting others is very key.
Okay. And Gavin, I'm glad you said that. You brought up the fact that there's sometimes you forget why. You forget your why you were doing this in the first place. And that happens a lot in law enforcement when people first come on board. That's, they have that desire. Hey, I want to help. But as soon as things start getting bad, sometimes the badge and the gun can go to your head.
Yeah.
And then
Definitely.
you start doing things differently than the reason why you join.
Yes.
Because I'd say that a high 90% of people in the high 90s that percentile of people are joining the forces to help others, to serve and
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
protect and to want to do that. I mean, there may be, especially here lately, there may be some other reasons why some people have joined the forces. But,
Sure.
but the initial back in our time, you know, you joined the force because you wanted to serve, you wanted to help. But then again, Gavin, now, you know, we both retired from law enforcement. You know, you retired here recently, and I retired in 2017. You know, I've been out for 7 or 8 years now, and I still do this. I still have Small World Solutions, and I still do these podcasts. Why?
Well, I think that's a really important question, because fundamentally for both of us, we talk about this a lot. We still want to serve. We still want to make the world a better place, and we're just doing, in some respect, through other people. You know, and actually, sometimes you've got to take the experience you have, and we both got a lot of experience where we can help other people through their difficult paths they're going to go through. Okay, and that's quite important. And you know, for me, being involved in this world it's a world which I enjoy, but I know I can have an impact. Okay, and I want to be able to influence people and make their life easier, but obviously do all that bit about serving the communities, because we could, you know, we've both got enough experience and ability to do very different organizations if we wanted to. So it's a choice we make. So you know, and one of the things about successful people, as we know, is that, and there's loads of research around this, is that people tend to be more successful if they're doing things which they like. Okay, because if it things, you know, and I think Angela Duckworth wrote Grit, a book called Grit, and she talks a lot about why people are successful. But fundamentally, if you don't like what you're doing, when it gets difficult, it's easy to walk away. But when things are tricky and you love what you do, you're more likely to push through and persevere. Okay, so persevere and then actually be successful. So liking what you do is really important. Sometimes though, as leaders, you've got to remind your staff why they joined, because it's very easy to be distracted by the demand, distracted by what people think about you, you know, the workloads, and that it's difficult. And sometimes you just need someone just to explain, actually just remember why you're doing it, because why you come up here, you want to change the world, and sometimes you can't change the world. So people get a bit disillusioned, and then their engagement is down here. But what you want to do is push that engagement back up to where they're motivated. Why did they join in the first place? You've got to remind them. And there's many ways you can do that. You know, I think it's really important.
I like to think that I do it through self motivation, and you know, because I wake up every morning inspired to find different ways to inspire others so that they may inspire others. You know, and that's been my philosophy. You know, I want to, like, I had you listen to a little bit of my morning devotional, and Tony Dungy, and he says it most eloquently. He says that I live with integrity so that I can impact the world positively. And I say, wow, that right there is exactly what I'm trying to get across. And I want to live my day with integrity so that I may be able to impact the world positively. You know, and even at my own church, you know, we had the SWS, and I go, yeah, that's Small World Solutions. However, it's for the church, it says serve the world selflessly. So don't think about yourself, but serve the world selflessly. How do we help others? How can we continue to help others? And I go, you even said that, you know, even when we're talking about wanting to improve yourself, you know, not everybody has that drive. And you talked about like the growth mindset and how people sometimes they need to be inspired. So, but they have to have that growth mindset in the first place, or else, you know, there's no matter what kind of inspiration or no matter what kind of motivation you plant to them, it won't grow. You know, the roots won't sprout if they don't have that growth mindset where they, you know, where you spoke about earlier in one of our earlier episodes.
Yeah, definitely. If people, you know, people have got amazing ability to to carry on learning. Doesn't matter how old you are, you can carry on getting better. I mean, look, we're old men. Why are we trying to get better? Well, I am.
Hey, wait, hold up now. I'm no spring chicken, but I'm not an old man now. Come on now.
Look better than others, you know. But we still want to get better. You know, we talk and we want to improve. We want to improve other people. But we could quite easily say, now we've done it. We know what we know, and you know, don't want to learn new things. So I think you're very right. If people need that ability to want to improve, but if people want to improve, it's really easy to spark them and inspire them, whether that's by reminding them of their motivation or reminding them of why they're doing what they're doing. It doesn't really matter, but you can do that as a leader. I think it's very, very powerful in terms of how we lead people. And you talked about living with integrity to make the world a better place. And I'd make it even more simple and saying, just treat people with respect.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell people off. You might have to tell people off. You might have to deliver bad messages to people or bad news, but you can still do that with some level of respect. And if we do that, then people will respect you more. They'll want to work for you. You know, they'll work harder. They'll go the extra mile for you. You know, and actually, it's everybody. It's the people that work for you that do all the work and actually make you successful. So just treating people with respect is crucial.
Let's go with this podcast. Now, we talked about our work. We talked about what we do and Small World Solutions and everything else. What about this podcast, Gavin? Why do we do this podcast? We do this podcast basically to help HR professionals help you impact your workplace environment. So how can we help you retain and attract qualified applicants? How can we help you reduce the conflict in your workplace environment? How can we help you increase your team cohesion, boost your employee morale? How can we do that? That's where you need to contact Small World Solutions and let us, contact Small World and let us be your solution.
That was slick, mate. That was actually slick. But it's, life is simple on so many levels. We just want to help people help themselves. You know, life's hard enough as it is. And actually, we know a lot of the answers as well. So we can help people get to those solutions quite quickly, because life's difficult. Work's difficult sometimes. Well, I think if we can inspire a few people just to make life a bit easier for them, I think we've done okay.
Like we said, we're inspired to inspire others. And if we can inspire others to just, like you said, help and if you can get one person and then that one person gets another person, eventually this grows. It grows and grows and grows.
Yeah. So change culture.
What'd you say?
It said you start changing culture.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So you can change the world. It's just a little ripple in the pond right now, but eventually turns into a big wave when everybody gets involved. So
there you go.
With that, Gavin, we need to close up our podcast for today.
Okay.
Arnold Smalley from Miami, or actually I live in Orlando, Florida now. But I was doing the podcast last week and I was doing it down South Florida. But anyways, if you want to reach out and contact us, don't hesitate to try us. Reach out to us at www.smallworldsolutions.net. Or you can call us at 754-971-7007. And the best to text that number, send us a text message. And if you want to join us on our podcast, we are accepting co-hosts. So feel free to, we have a topic that we're going to talk about and you want to join us on our podcast, let us know in our text us that information or reach out to Gavin if you're in the London area. And Gavin, you can provide your email or phone number if you'd like.
Yeah, so my number is 07977472722.
Wow. I'll never remember that, but I might have you locked in anyways. But for now, we got to say goodbye, Gav.
Take care, everybody.